Orson Welles. Orson Welles, an innovative genius whose groundbreaking work reshaped the landscape of cinema, was as notorious for his creative brilliance as he was for his personal battles with alcohol. Welles's life was a constant juggling act between visionary artistry and the destructive allure of the bottle. His larger-than-life personality and relentless ambition earned him both acclaim and infamy, yet behind the scenes, his relationship with alcohol was a turbulent force that often sabotaged his endeavors. In the midst of crafting cinematic masterpieces that would stand the test of time, Welles found himself increasingly reliant on alcohol as a means to cope with the pressures of an unpredictable industry and the weight of his own lofty expectations. Colleagues observed that his sporadic bursts of genius were frequently interspersed with periods of profound self-doubt and erratic behavior, all exacerbated by his dependence on alcohol. The paradox of his existence, where his genius was both illuminated and obscured by his self-destructive habits, remains one of the great tragedies of film history. Welles's tumultuous journey serves as a powerful reminder that even the most brilliant minds are vulnerable to the ravages of addiction. His legacy, though monumental in the annals of cinema, is forever tinged with the sorrow of a man who could not escape the destructive grip of alcohol. Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan's trajectory in Hollywood was a whirlwind of early promise and meteoric rise, only to be derailed by a relentless battle with personal demons, chief among them, alcoholism. Once celebrated as a prodigious talent with a bright future, Lohan's journey soon became a turbulent saga of public missteps and private despair. Her early success in family-friendly films transitioned into a more complicated public persona, marked by erratic behavior and frequent tabloid scandals. The pressures of fame and the harsh scrutiny of the media became overwhelming, driving her to seek refuge in the numbing embrace of alcohol. Over time, what began as an escape turned into an all-consuming dependency that sabotaged her career and personal life alike. Parties, rehab stints, and legal entanglements became recurring chapters in her narrative, each episode serving as a stark reminder of the cost of unchecked indulgence. The very talent that had once captured the hearts of millions was gradually eclipsed by a series of destructive choices. Today, Lindsay Lohan's life serves as a modern parable, a cautionary tale for a new generation of stars grappling with the perils of fame and the pitfalls of self-destruction. Her story remains a poignant illustration of how the lure of alcohol can swiftly transform a promising career into a cycle of decline and regret. Oliver Reed. Oliver Reed's life was an extraordinary tapestry of raw talent interwoven with reckless abandon, a story that oscillated between critical acclaim and self-inflicted ruin. As one of Britain's most dynamic and charismatic actors, Reed's on-screen prowess won him accolades and adoration. Yet his off-screen escapades, fueled by an insatiable thirst for alcohol, painted a very different picture. Reed embraced a lifestyle defined by extremes. From downing 20 pints of lager mixed with experimental chasers in one breath, to the legendary feat of consuming 126 pints in 24 hours, often culminating in bizarre stunts like performing a handstand on a bar. His antics, as wild as they were unpredictable, became the stuff of urban legend, a cocktail of audacity and despair that ultimately took a toll on his health. Whether he was scaling chimneys naked or staging irreverent public pranks, Reed's life was an unending spree of intoxicated defiance. Despite the adoration of his fans, the relentless pressure and chaos of a life lived in perpetual excess slowly eroded his vitality. His final act of overindulgence, which precipitated a fatal heart attack during the filming of Gladiator, underscored the harsh reality of his self-destruction. Reed's narrative is a stark reminder that even the most talented and beloved stars can fall prey to the seductive grip of alcohol, a cautionary tale etched in both triumph and tragedy. Dennis Price. Dennis Price's life in the limelight was a tragic blend of on-screen charm and off-screen despair. Born into privilege, Price earned acclaim for his refined performances in British cinema. Yet behind his sophisticated veneer, he waged a private war against personal demons, The pressures of concealing his true identity and the heartbreak of a disintegrating marriage pushed him toward the bottle, a refuge that slowly became his undoing. His days began with a relentless gulp of Guinness and ended with the numbing warmth of Scotch. In an era when discretion was prized, his public appearances belied the internal chaos fueled by heavy drinking. Colleagues recalled how the once dashing leading man would sometimes appear disheveled and distracted, his once commanding presence diminished by the weight of his addiction. The very qualities that made him a darling of the silver screen, his charm, his wit, his elegance, were ultimately eclipsed by a relentless self-destruction. Price's decline was a gradual yet heartbreaking descent into irrelevance. His story stands as a sobering testament to the perilous intersection of fame and personal vulnerability. A man whose tremendous talent was ultimately overshadowed by the demons he couldn't escape. His narrative invites us to reflect on the harsh realities behind glamour, reminding us that even the brightest stars may burn out under the weight of their inner struggles. Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart, the enduring symbol of classic American cinema, is forever etched in history for his iconic roles and cool demeanor. Yet behind the enigmatic smile and sharp wit lay a man tormented by the relentless grip of alcoholism. Bogart's life was a study in contrasts. While his on-screen persona exuded effortless cool, his off-screen existence was marred by self-destructive habits. His relationship with alcohol was complex, an ever-present companion that could transform a charming leading man into an unpredictable force. Anecdotes of his drunken escapades, from arriving on set in pajamas to bizarre incidents involving stolen restaurant safes, have become the stuff of Hollywood legend. His excessive drinking, often coupled with heavy smoking, eventually caught up with him, paving the way for a terminal diagnosis that would end his illustrious career. Bogart's later years were a mix of defiance and melancholy, as he clung to the bottle despite knowing the fatal cost. His struggle with addiction not only affected his health but also marred his relationships and tarnished the golden era he once personified. Today, Bogart's legacy is a bittersweet reminder of the fine line between brilliance and self-destruction. A poignant illustration of how even the greatest icons can be undone by the demons lurking behind the curtain of fame. Bernard Lee. Bernard Lee's storied career, spanning decades and countless roles, was marred by a deeply personal struggle with alcoholism. Known widely for his portrayal of the stalwart M in the James Bond films, Lee's public persona was one of authority and unwavering resolve. Yet behind the camera, and beyond the accolades, his life was shadowed by loss and despair. Tragic personal events, the devastating loss of his wife in a fire, relentless financial woes, and the sting of being mugged, set off a chain reaction of depression and self-destruction. In the confines of his dressing room, where he often sought solace from the harsh glare of the spotlight, Lee turned to alcohol as his sole companion. His coping mechanism was both his refuge and his undoing, a cycle of heavy drinking that steadily eroded the physical and mental fortitude required for his demanding career. Colleagues recounted moments when Lee was locked away, battling the dual demons of grief and inebriation. His very presence on set became unpredictable, a far cry from the reliable, dignified figure audiences revered. The once gallant head of MI6 became emblematic of how relentless personal tragedy can lead even the most admired individuals into a downward spiral. Lee's life and legacy serve as a poignant reminder of the insidious nature of addiction and the devastating toll it can extract from those who, despite their talents, find themselves unable to escape the pull of alcohol. Fonda. Peter Fonda, an emblematic figure of counterculture cinema and an actor of immense promise, led a life that oscillated between groundbreaking creativity and personal self-destruction. His performances captured the spirit of a rebellious generation, yet behind the scenes, Fonda's reliance on alcohol gradually eroded the very essence of his talent. His journey through Hollywood was marked by a series of highs and lows, a whirlwind of innovative films and public controversies fueled by his excessive drinking. Fonda's off-screen escapades became as notorious as the roles he portrayed, with the lure of the bottle acting as both a muse and a curse. Friends and collaborators noted that his creative energy, once boundless, was increasingly compromised by the destructive patterns of binge drinking. The artistic freedom that once defined him was slowly strangled by a dependency that left its mark on his health, his work, and his personal relationships. His life serves as a stark illustration of the delicate balance between creative brilliance and self-destruction, a balance that, when tipped, can lead to irrevocable consequences. Peter Fonda's story is a tragic ode to the perils of excess, a reminder that even the most iconoclastic figures in cinema are not immune to the ravages of addiction. His legacy, forever intertwined with his battles against alcohol, remains a poignant cautionary tale. Barbara Payton. Barbara Payton's rise to Hollywood's golden era was as meteoric as it was ill-fated. Hailing from a small Midwestern town, she quickly ascended the ranks to become one of the era's most glamorous and sought-after leading ladies. Yet the brilliance of her on-screen presence belied the turbulent storm raging in her personal life. Payton's relationships were fraught with volatility and a series of scandalous encounters, including bouts of violence, brushes with the law, and even allegations of prostitution, became the darker undercurrents of her existence. In a world where fame often masks inner turmoil, Barbara sought solace in alcohol, turning to it as a stabilizing force amid chaos. Her dependence on liquor not only provided temporary relief from her inner demons, but also spiraled into a relentless cycle of public humiliation. Reports of her erratic behavior, sleeping in public in nothing more than a coat and bathing suit, or her frequent brushes with the legal system over disorderly conduct, became tabloid fodder. As the 1960s waned, the toll of years of hard living became painfully evident. Her once radiant visage gave way to a face ravaged by the years of alcohol abuse, and her untimely demise from heart and liver disease cemented her legacy as a tragic figure. Barbara's story is a testament to the brutal price that unchecked indulgence can exact, even on those who seem to have the world at their feet. Gary Busey. Gary Busey's career in Hollywood has been defined by both his eccentric talent and a well-documented struggle with alcoholism, a duality that has left an indelible mark on his legacy. Known for his electrifying performances and offbeat energy, Busey's journey through the cinematic landscape was often marred by episodes of heavy drinking and unpredictable behavior. His life was a roller coaster of critical acclaim and personal downfall, where the thrill of the screen was constantly undermined by the insidious grip of addiction. In his prime, Busey's unique ability to transform into a myriad of characters was celebrated by audiences and critics alike. Yet those closest to him witnessed the toll that alcohol took on his health and creativity. His drinking was more than a mere habit. It was a refuge that eventually became a prison. Episodes of public outbursts, erratic interviews, and candid admissions of his struggles painted the picture of a man at war with his inner demons. Despite efforts to rehabilitate himself and reclaim his place in Hollywood, the scars of his past missteps remained. Gary Busey's story is a stark, modern-day parable, a cautionary tale that illustrates how the allure of alcohol can derail even the most promising careers, leaving behind a legacy as tragic as it is unforgettable. Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant's imposing figure and larger-than-life persona made him an icon in both wrestling and film. Known for his gentle nature offstage, the colossal figure of 7.5 feet and 500 pounds was nevertheless ensnared by the vice of alcoholism. In the shadow of his physical might, Andre's drinking habits were as legendary as his roles. His binge sessions were the stuff of lore, exceeding 7,000 calories of alcohol in a single sitting, or the infamous night when he consumed 119 beers before succumbing to exhaustion in a hotel corridor. While his colleagues marveled at his ability to down 40 vodka tonics in a single night, they also watched with growing concern as his body began to betray him. The strain of acromegaly, combined with chronic heavy drinking, precipitated a cascade of health issues that ultimately led to diabetes and heart failure. His role as Fezzik in The Princess Bride remains a fond memory for many, yet it is also a stark reminder of the toll that relentless indulgence can exact. Andre's personal battles, hidden behind a facade of strength and humor, illustrate how even the most indomitable spirits can be broken by addiction. His tragic end, at the young age of 46, serves as a somber emblem of a life defined by both immense talent and unyielding self-destruction. John Barrymore. John Barrymore, once hailed as the Shakespearean titan and cinematic luminary of early Hollywood, led a life steeped in both artistic brilliance and self-inflicted ruin. Born into the storied Barrymore family, his command of the stage and screen captivated audiences across the globe. Yet, beneath the glamour and theatrical aplomb, Barrymore's personal life was a study in excess and despair. Alcohol was his constant companion, a crutch he leaned on from an early age until it morphed into a crippling dependency. As the years advanced, his reliance on drink not only began to blur the clarity of his performances, but also imperiled his health. On stage and screen, his portrayal of complex characters was marred by the unmistakable tremor of a man battling inner demons. His body, once a vessel of riveting artistry, showed the unmistakable scars of chronic kidney disease and edema, both symptoms of his ceaseless drinking. Despite flashes of brilliance, Barrymore's potential was steadily eclipsed by his inability to control his addiction. His tragic decline was a slow, painful journey from the heights of fame to the nadir of self-destruction, culminating in a death that robbed the world of one of its most gifted talents. Barrymore's legacy remains a stark, cautionary tale, a reminder of how artistic genius can be irreparably tarnished when personal demons take control. Peter O'Toole. Peter O'Toole, celebrated for his mesmerizing performances and an indelible presence on stage and screen, bore the dual burden of extraordinary talent and a crippling battle with alcoholism. His career, adorned with accolades and revered roles in epic dramas, often seemed at odds with the destructive habits that plagued his personal life. O'Toole's relationship with alcohol was as intricate as his craft, a companion in solitude that gradually evolved into an all-consuming addiction. His legendary escapades on film sets, marked by bouts of inebriation that sometimes bordered on the absurd, became infamous among colleagues and audiences alike. Whether it was the notorious nights in Beirut during the filming of Lawrence of Arabia or his erratic behavior on stage, his excessive drinking was a persistent specter. The toll was visible in his once vibrant features, now weathered and marred by years of self-destruction. Colleagues lamented the tragic irony of a man whose genius could have soared even higher, yet who was repeatedly derailed by the insidious grip of alcohol. O'Toole's life stands as a poignant reminder of how the same force that fuels creativity can also serve as a fatal crutch, undermining the very essence of a brilliant career. His legacy, though luminous on screen, is forever intertwined with the sorrow of battles lost to addiction. Richard Burton. Richard Burton's career was a symphony of raw talent and tumultuous passion, but it was also marred by a relentless struggle with alcoholism. Renowned for his velvety voice and formidable presence, Burton captivated audiences in films and on stage alike. However, behind the magnetic allure lay a man whose battles with alcohol were waged from a tender age. Starting his drinking habit as early as 12, Burton's consumption escalated to staggering proportions. At his peak, he reportedly ingested 3 bottles of vodka daily. His notorious binges, including the night he downed 21 shots of tequila before leaping into the sea on hearing of a shark sighting, became emblematic of a self-destructive lifestyle. Colleagues recounted harrowing tales from the set of The Klansman, where Burton's intoxication threatened not only his performance, but also the safety of those around him. His physical decline, marked by enlarged kidneys and other severe health issues, was a grim testament to decades of unchecked indulgence. Despite warnings from doctors and pleas from friends, Burton's addiction tightened its grip, undermining his brilliant career and culminating in his untimely death. His life, a mixture of grandeur and tragedy, remains a powerful reminder of the devastating consequences of alcoholism. A once great actor whose immense talent was ultimately overshadowed by his inner demons. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn, the quintessential swashbuckling hero of Hollywood's golden age, was celebrated for his daring roles and undeniable charm. Yet, beneath the veneer of adventure and romance lay a life consumed by indulgence and self-destruction. Flynn's off-screen existence was characterized by lavish parties, wild escapades, and an insatiable appetite for alcohol. His legendary exploits, epitomized by extravagant gatherings at his Malibu estate and intoxicated dares on set, became a double-edged sword. While they cemented his reputation as a bon vivant, they also masked the gradual deterioration of his health. The very energy that fueled his on-screen heroics was slowly sapped away by years of relentless drinking. Tales of his intoxicated bets, outrageous challenges, and reckless behavior with co-stars circulated widely, painting a picture of a man who could never escape the lure of the bottle. Medical warnings about his heart and lungs were ignored in the face of ceaseless revelry, and by the time his body could no longer sustain the abuse, the damage was irreversible. Flynn's tragic collapse in his 30s, followed by his premature death at 50, stands as a stark reminder of how an unchecked addiction can devour even the most dazzling careers. His legacy, though immortalized in film, remains a cautionary tale of passion gone awry, a man whose brilliance was ultimately dimmed by the darkness of alcoholism. Peter Finch. Peter Finch's career was marked by a luminous talent that shone brightly in the world of film, yet it was persistently dimmed by the shadow of alcoholism. Finch, whose compelling performances captivated audiences, often found solace in the bottle, a refuge that soon morphed into a destructive addiction. In a life dedicated to the dramatic arts, Finch's struggle with alcohol was as dramatic as any role he played. His days on set were a constant battle between raw passion and the debilitating effects of inebriation. Colleagues recalled moments when his brilliant mind, capable of profound insight, was clouded by the haze of excessive drinking. The intensity that once fueled his stellar performances slowly eroded, replaced by a reliance on alcohol that undermined his artistic legacy. Finch's personal life was fraught with internal conflict, his self-worth diminished by the endless cycle of indulgence and regret. Despite critical acclaim and accolades that should have cemented his place in cinematic history, the corrosive influence of alcohol gnawed at his potential. His untimely demise, a casualty of chronic alcoholism, became a cautionary tale, an embodiment of the tragedy that often lies behind the glamorous facade of Hollywood. Finch's narrative is a somber reminder that even the most promising talents can be undermined by personal demons, and that the lure of alcohol can devastate even the brightest stars. Buster Keaton. Buster Keaton, a pioneer of silent film comedy, was renowned for his impeccable timing, deadpan expression, and astonishing physical comedy. Behind the laughter he elicited from audiences, however, Keaton's personal life was shadowed by a persistent and destructive battle with alcoholism. Once hailed as one of the greatest innovators in cinematic history, his career became intertwined with the demons of heavy drinking, a vice that steadily eroded the genius of his performances. The same creative brilliance that had him executing daredevil stunts and delivering deadpan humor was gradually suffocated by the relentless pull of the bottle. In the quieter hours away from the camera, Keaton wrestled with an inner turmoil that alcohol only deepened, isolating him from colleagues and friends alike. His comedic persona, a mask that concealed a troubled soul, eventually gave way to a private life defined by regret and self-destruction. The laughter he once inspired now stands as a bittersweet echo of a talent that was marred by addiction. Today, Keaton's legacy is a poignant reminder of how the harsh grip of alcoholism can overshadow even the most groundbreaking contributions to art and comedy. His life story serves as a timeless cautionary tale, a testament to the devastating impact of a habit that claimed the vibrancy of one of cinema's true original geniuses. W.C. Fields, a master of comedic timing and sardonic wit, is forever remembered for his inimitable screen presence and caustic humor. Yet beneath the layers of clever quips and theatrical exaggeration, Fields struggled with a personal battle against the clutches of alcoholism. His public persona, a blend of charm, mischief, and deliberate absurdity, masked an inner turmoil that was exacerbated by heavy drinking. Fields' life was a series of elaborate performances both on and off the screen, where alcohol often played the role of both muse and adversary. While audiences roared at his comedic antics, Those close to him witnessed the gradual deterioration of a man who increasingly sought solace in liquor. His drinking was not merely a social habit, it became a crutch that undercut his creative energies and personal relationships. The same irreverent humor that made him a household name eventually became a coping mechanism for a lifetime of disappointments and hardships. As the years passed, the toll of his dependence became painfully evident in his declining health and erratic behavior. Field's enduring legacy is bittersweet, a reminder that even the most brilliantly funny individuals can be undermined by the darkest of personal demons. His story is a testament to the tragic irony of a life dedicated to humor, yet ultimately defined by the sorrow of addiction. Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper's legacy in American cinema is defined by both his visionary creativity and the personal demons that haunted him throughout his career. A force of nature on screen, Hopper's bold and unconventional approach to acting was matched only by his equally notorious off-screen exploits. His life became a blur of groundbreaking films, incendiary art, and an unyielding dependence on alcohol. Hopper's drinking was not merely an indulgence, it was a crutch that he leaned on in times of creative strain and personal despair. Known for his electrifying presence and fearless roles, he was equally known for his wild behavior on set, where his bouts of intoxication often led to unpredictable and self-sabotaging outcomes. Friends and colleagues spoke in hushed tones about the man who could be both a brilliant artist and a wreck of self-destruction in the span of a single day. Despite attempts to temper his habits, the corrosive effects of chronic alcohol abuse gradually eroded his health and tarnished his legacy. Hopper's life is a complex tapestry of artistic triumphs intermingled with personal tragedies, a stark reminder that the pursuit of creative freedom can sometimes come at an insurmountable cost. His journey, punctuated by both brilliance and breakdown, remains a cautionary tale about the high price of unchecked indulgence in the relentless world of Hollywood. Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen's rise to stardom was accompanied by an exuberant lifestyle that soon became synonymous with excess. Excess that ultimately spiraled into a destructive relationship with alcohol. Once celebrated for his magnetic screen presence and roguish charm, Sheen's life took a tumultuous turn as his off-screen exploits increasingly dominated headlines. The allure of the bottle, combined with the pressures of public life, set him on a path of self-destruction. His persona, once defined by a confident swagger and undeniable talent, gradually morphed into that of a troubled celebrity entangled in scandal after scandal. The stories of his wild nights, public meltdowns, and erratic behavior paint a picture of a man in constant battle with his inner demons. Friends, family, and colleagues have often recounted how the very qualities that once brought him fame were eroded by the relentless pull of alcohol. Despite his attempts at rehabilitation and numerous public pleas for help, the cycle of indulgence proved difficult to break. Sheen's life is emblematic of the tragic cost of unchecked excess, a cautionary tale of a brilliant actor whose personal struggles were broadcast for the world to see, ultimately overshadowing his once promising career. His story serves as a stark reminder that the glitter of fame can conceal deep personal wounds. Matthew Perry. Matthew Perry's charm and wit earned him a place among Hollywood's most beloved television stars. Yet beneath the laughter and light-hearted banter lay a long and painful struggle with alcoholism. Best known for his role in one of the most iconic sitcoms of all time, Perry's public persona exuded humor and resilience. However, his personal battles were waged in the quiet hours away from the cameras, hours spent grappling with the weight of addiction and its relentless grip. Perry's relationship with alcohol began as a seemingly harmless habit that slowly morphed into a crutch to manage the pressures of fame and personal loss. As the years progressed, his dependency deepened, ultimately affecting both his career and his personal relationships. Friends and co-stars have spoken candidly about the challenges of working alongside a man whose brilliance was often overshadowed by his inner turmoil. Despite repeated attempts to seek help, the cycle of binge drinking and relapse proved difficult to break. Perry's narrative is one of tremendous talent marred by a relentless personal struggle, a vivid illustration of how even those who make us laugh are not immune to the ravages of addiction. His life stands as a somber reminder of the hidden battles that many face, even in the midst of seemingly effortless success.